Hello, fourth grade. How are you? Today you're going to need your 4A book, Prime Scholastic Math, and we're going to be working on page 26. Before we go to page 26, I want to do just a little bit of review. So if you could just take a look up at the screen, we're going to do some review. All right. When we multiply whole numbers, what we need to remember is not only multiplying, but also a step of addition. So let me show you what I mean. The first step, obviously, would be to multiply the first column. So 7 times 5 is 35. We put our 5 on the bottom, but we need to remember that next step, which is to put our 10 into our next column. So you'll see that the 3 goes on the top. Okay, we continue multiplying 3 times 5, which is 15, and then we need to add the number that's on the top. That's a very, very important step, okay? So 15 plus 3 is 18, okay? And then we would just continue going on to the next step. We put our 8 on the bottom and our 1 on the top. And then 1 times 5 is 5, plus 1 is 6. If you end up with 585, your answer is incorrect. Okay, you need to add that number on the top to your answer. So 685 would be correct. Let's do a couple of examples on page 26. All right, on page 26, you're going to see several problems. We actually did these ones together. We did A, B, C, and D together. And I'm just going to have you guys check your answers on that page. So I'll pause the video and you can check your answers just to make sure that you have them correct. So number 1, 6,393. Number 2, 2,486. Number 3, 15,600. And letter D, which I just changed, but it changed back to a B for some reason, 12,318. Okay, we're going to go on to these next problems, letter E, and let's do those together. Okay, our first part of the problem is going to be 6 times 4. Okay, we have 6 times 4, which we can use our multiplication table over here if we really want to. 6 times 4 is 24. 4 goes on the bottom, and our 2 goes on the top, okay? 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 plus 2 equals 18. So 8 is going to go on the bottom, and our 1 is going to go on the top. Our next problem is 2 times 4. Well, I know that 2 times 4 is 8, and then we need to add that 1 on the top. 8 plus 1 is 9. And our last step, 2 times 4, which equals 8. Okay, so that should have been pretty easy. That first problem should have been easy. 8,984 is your answer. All right, let's do another problem. The next one says 3,209 times 5. Well, similarly, we're going to start with the first column. 9 times 5 is 45. 5 goes on the bottom, and their 4 goes on the top. 0 times 5, well, any number times 0 is 0. So we just need to understand that. And then we have to add that 4 on the top. 0 plus 4 is 4. Okay? Our next is our hundreds. With our hundreds, we have 2 times 5. 2 times 5 is 10. Our 0 goes on the bottom, and our 1 goes on the top. Let me write that 0 a little bit better so you can see it better. 0 goes on the bottom, and our 1 goes on the top. In our last column, we have to add again. So 3 times 5 is 15. I can check that right here in my multiplication table. And then 15 plus 1 on the top is 16. So your answer should be 16,045. Let's go ahead and do letter G right away. Okay? Letter G says that we're going to be doing 6 times 7 right off the bat. So 6 times 7 is 42. 2 goes on the bottom, my 4 goes on the top. 8 times 7 is 56. If I don't know that, I can look on my multiplication table. 8 times 7 is 56. And then we have to add on the top. So 56 plus the number that's on the top, which is 4, equals 60. Okay, we added those together to get 60. Our 0 is going to go on the bottom, and our 6 is going to go on the top. Okay, now what should we do? Well, we continue multiplying. 5 times 7. 5 times 7 is, let me change the color, sorry about that. 5 times 7 is 35, and 35 plus 6, which is on our top right there, okay, is 41. All right, so the 1 is going to go on the bottom, and our 4 is going to go on the top. Okay, our next problem is 2 times 7. Well, 2 times 7 equals 14. But then we need to add that 4, which is on the top. Let me put this in black. 2 times 7 is 14. All right. We have 14 plus 4 equals 18. So 18 is going to go on the bottom. Okay, I added that 4 in there. So our answer is going to be 18,102. Okay, you'll also notice, boys and girls, I'm going to put this maybe in yellow so you can see it better. I'm putting all my numbers, my answers for my numbers, right in line with my numbers in my problem. Okay, all my numbers are in line with my numbers in my problem. Okay, that's going to help you out a lot to make sure that you are doing these correctly. Okay, let's go and do the last problem. The last problem has us doing 6 times 8. 6 times 8 is 48, which you can see inside of your multiplication table. 8 goes on the bottom, 4 goes on the top. 5 times 8 is 40, plus 4 equals 44. So 4 is going to go on the bottom, and 4 is going to go on the top. 3 times 8 is 24, and 24 plus 4 equals 28. So 8 is going to go on the bottom, and 2 is going to go on the top of my thousands column. 4 times 8 is 32. So 32 from 4 times 8 plus 2, 32 plus 2 equals 34. So 3, 4. Our answer, our final answer is 34,848. Make sure you check your answers to make sure that they're correct. Here we have all of our answers are right there. All right, let me put them in boxes. All right, we're going to go on to the next couple of problems. I'm going to delete everything. Okay, and let's go on to the next couple of problems. With these problems, boys and girls, I'm just going to mention something. If you want more information about this topic, multiplying by the power of 10, which is what we're going to be doing on page 27, you can watch this video. This is in Google Classroom if you want to watch it. But it's more of what we're doing in 5th grade. So if this is way too easy for you, you can watch these videos to understand more about base 10. Let's say, for example, we have 10 chocolates for each student. So Johan has 10 chocolates, and Marilise has 10 chocolates, and Sergio has 10 chocolates, and Mateo has 10 chocolates, and Maria Victoria has 10 chocolates, and Warner, and everyone. Everyone has 10 chocolates, okay? And let's say, for example, there are 30 students in 4A and 30 students in 4B. I know that's not correct. There's like 22 or 23 in each one, but let's pretend that there's 30 students in each classroom. How many students do we have in total? Well, 30 plus 30 is 60. And how would we figure out how many chocolates we have in all? Well, we would multiply 10 times 60. Let's do the first problem together to try to figure out that answer, okay? Before we do that, I want to make sure that you understand that we have 3 different types of numbers in our problem. We have the the base number, which is in red, so that's 6. We have our base 10 number, which is in orange, and we have our zeros, which we need to include in our problems, okay? Those zeros might be in our base numbers, or they might be in our base 10. It depends, okay? So let's do the first problem. Well, I already know that 6 times 1 equals 6, right? How many zeros do we have in our problem? Well, we have 2, right? So if we know that our problem asks for 6 times 1, here we go, 6 times 1, okay, which is right here, which equals 6, that's going to be our number in our base answer. Okay, that's our base number answer. And then we're going to just count the zeros. How many zeros do we have? Well, we have 1, 2 zeros. So 2 zeros are going to go into our answer. Our final answer is going to be 600 for our first problem. All right, let's do the next problem. Well, with the next problem, we don't have 60 chocolates or 60 students. We have 600 students with 10 chocolates apiece. Let's do the same thing. Well, we already know that 6 times 1 is 6, right? That's our base number. 6 times 1 equals 6. So that's going to be our base number in our answer. How many zeros do we have when we multiply 600 times 10? Well, we have, let's count them. 1, 2, 3 zeros. We have 3 zeros. So we're going to put 3 zeros in our answer, right? So our answer is going to be 6,000, okay? With our 3 zeros, those 3 that are right here, we're going to put 3 zeros in our answer, okay? Good. The rest of these problems are pretty similar, so let's actually dive right into them, okay? When we have these problems, we're going to be multiplying always by a base number, okay? So let's just put those answers that we already did inside of our blanks, okay? Good. That's a 0. Now let me write those again. Okay. 6 times 1 is 6, so we're going to put 6 in our blank, right? And then how many zeros do we have? Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. So we're going to put 4 zeros in our answer. 1, 2, 3, 4. Our answer is 60,000. Okay? Now let's multiply a little bit bigger number. If you know 6 times 1 is 6, then 666 times 1 is pretty simple. It's just 666, right? Now how many zeros do we have? Well, we have 1 right here, and we have 1 right here, right? So we need to add those 2 zeros into our answer, right? Those 2 that we just found right there and right there, we need to add those into our answers, okay? 1, 2 zeros. Our answer is 66,600. Let's do letter E. Well, again, we are multiplying by a factor of base 10. So our base number is 4,265 times 1 is just 4,265. When we multiply by base 10, we know that 10 only has 1 zero. So that 1 zero is going to transfer into our answer. Our answer is 42,650. Okay, good. Let's do the next one. This time I think that I can just type it because I think we're understanding this a little bit better. 3,108 times 1 is just 3,108, right? I'm going to leave a space right there, and I'll tell you why in just a second. 0, 8. How many zeros do we have? Well, we have 1 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place my 1 0 in my answer. There we go. Our answer is 31,080. Now you'll notice, boys and girls, that I did not add a second 0. This one right here does not count. Okay? This 0 right here does not count. We already put it in our answer, so we don't need to put it right here, okay? We don't need to put it at the end. Our answer is only 31,080, okay? That's it. Let's do the last two problems. Well, I know that our base number, 2,049, times 1 equals 2,049. And we have 1 0 in our answer, in our problem. So we're going to put 1 0 in our answer. 2,049 times 10 equals 20,490. Let's check that one in the calculator just to make sure. Okay, let me actually go to the calculator. And let's check that just to make sure. All right. Our problem says 2,049 times 10 equals 20,490. Okay, here on the calculator you have a comma which separates the place value. I just put a space inside of our answer, so it is correct. Let's do the last problem. 74,000 times 10. Well, 74 times 1 equals 74. And how many zeros do we have? Well, we have 1, 2, 3 zeros. So we're going to put 3 zeros in our answer. 1, 2, 3. Our answer should be 74,000. I'm going to write that again in text just so you can see that. 74,000. Okay, let's check that in the calculator just to make sure. Here we go. 7,400 times 10 equals 74,000. Perfect. All right, boys and girls, so you've learned base 10. What we're going to do right now is we're going to do some more multiplication, but this time we're going to be estimating. Now, estimating is something that we've learned before. Let me just actually add a new page just so I can explain a little bit about that. Okay. You might have forgotten what estimation was. It might be completely new for you, but let me just do a new page for you. So if we have the number 3,999, we could either round that up to 4,000 or we could round it down to 3,000. Which one is closer to the original number? Well, you're probably understanding that since we have all these 9s, it's going to round up to 4,000. That's called estimation or approximation or rounding. Okay, you could call it either one of those things. Okay, when we estimate, we're just picking a number that's easier to understand, okay, based on base 10, okay? So in this case, it's just rounding to the nearest 1,000. Let's do another problem. Let's do a little bit bigger problem, or a little bit more challenging. Let's have 9,402. Now, would I round up to 10,000 or round down to 9,000? Well, in this case, it's a little bit more complex, okay? But if you understand how rounding works, you know that the 4 actually tells the 9 to stay in its place, okay? It's not very powerful because all the numbers that are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 are not very powerful. They actually round down, okay? Or they stay the same, right? And then we have numbers like 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, which round, and it tells it to go up. So since 4 is a small number, it's going to tell this 9 to stay in its place. So we're going to stay at 9,000. We're going to estimate that as 9,000, okay? Let's go to page 27, and let's do a couple of these problems together, okay? If we have the number 1,993, we can estimate that by either going up or down. So what would you do? Would you take this number and go up to 2,000 or down to 1,000? Would you go up to 2 or down to 1? Well, obviously you go up to 2, okay, because of all those 9s. Those 9s tell that 1 to go up. So we have 2,000 as our number, as our estimate. And we're multiplying by 4. So let's actually just plop that 4 right there in that blank. I can tell that we are multiplying by a base number, which is 2 times 4. I know that 2 times 4 equals 8. Okay, I see that, 2 times 4. So I'm going to put my part of my estimate right there, the 8. And then I'm just going to count my zeros, right? How many zeros do I have? Always use green for zeros because it's just easier to see. We have 3 zeros, so we're going to add 3 zeros into our answer. 1, 2, 3. 8,000, okay? That was the first step. Now the second step of the problem says multiply. Let's multiply right here. 3 times 4 is 12. 4 times 9 is 36. And 36 plus 1 equals 37. 7 goes right here, and the 3 goes on the top. 9 times 4, again, is 36, and 36 plus 3 equals 39. So my 9 goes on the bottom, and my 3 goes on the top. 1 times 4 is 4, and 4 plus 3 equals, that doesn't look right. 1 second. Just make sure we're doing this correctly. Yeah, 1 times 4 is 4, plus 3 is 7. So we're going to put our 7 on the top. Okay, 7,972 is our answer, which is pretty similar. These are almost the same. Okay, these two numbers are almost exactly the same for a couple of reasons. Well, one of them, they both have 4 digits. Another one, the 7,000 would change to 8,000 because the 9 is big. Okay, that 9 is a big number and it would round up. So we have our correct answer. The estimate and the multiplication answer are accurate. Let's go and do another one. Okay, let me erase a couple of these so we have a little bit more space. All right. We're going to estimate first. 4,036 estimated out would be what? We would go down to 4,000. Okay, so 4,000 is our estimate. 4,000. And we're multiplying by what number? By 7. So let's put our 7 right there. 7. What is 4 times 7? Well, I know 4 times 7, if I look at my multiplication table, is 28. Right there. Here we go. So we're going to put 28 in our blank. 28. Okay, we already multiplied our 2 base numbers. How many zeros do we have for our spot? Well, we have 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So our answer is going to be 28,000. Let's multiply to see if we did this correct, okay? 6 times 7 is 42. 3 times 7 is 21. And 21 plus 4 equals 25. My 5 goes on the bottom, and my 2 goes on the top. 0 times 7 is 0. And 0 plus 2 equals 2. 2 goes on the bottom in my 100 spot, and we don't have anything to go on the top. 4 times 7, lastly, is 28. And if we compare 28,252 to 28,000, they are pretty much the same. Okay, they are almost exactly the same. All right, good job, boys and girls. What we're going to do now is we're going to just do a couple of games just to practice. We will do the next couple of problems in class, okay, next time. So we'll save C, D, and E for next time, just because it's what I want to do. And I'll show you a couple of games that we can play. This one right here is just a little worksheet if you wanted to practice multiplying. looks like they put their numbers on the bottom to add up, which is totally fine. That's just another way of doing it. Otherwise, if you wanted to play the different games that we've played before, this is the Pumpkin Math one. All of these are on Google Drive, Google Classroom, I'm sorry, if you wanted to play them. We've played a couple of these. I don't know if we played this one, so I think we're actually going to play this one in class today. All right, Turtle Diary. Let me show you a little bit about it. TurtleDiary.com is pretty simple. It's not as complex as some of the other games. So give it a chance to load. 33%, 50, 90. Oh, it's going to load again. Give it a second. There we go. All right. Okay. Let's try level 3 this time. Oof, multiples of 14. Oh my goodness. That just might be too difficult. Let's actually pick a different one. I don't even know the multiples of 14. If we looked on maybe a multiplication table, we could do it. But I think we're going to try a different one, actually. Let's try a different one. Let me see if I can pick a different factor, okay? One might be a little bit more complex. I want it to be. Let's pick maybe the multiples of, try the multiples of 10 this time, okay? Click on the multiples of 2. So you're going to click on all those multiples of 2. All the ones, oops.
This is incorrect.
All the ones that end in 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, right?
Well wondered. Bravo. That's right. Good job. Fantastic. Fantastic.
All right, I got them all. Look at that. Got one error. Okay, next. All the multiples of 5. Well, 15 is 1. 60, 70, 90, 100, 30, 5, 10, 55, 40. Got them all. All right, so this is a good way to practice all those multiples, just to understand what they are. Multiples of 6. Well, 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. Where's 30? I can't find it. It's not there. 36. Is it there? Can you find it? Well, you get the idea. Okay, so this is a really cool game that you guys can play if you want to. The link is right here in the bio. But it's been great. Hopefully you guys have learned something, and we will see you next class.